You are Locked On Lions Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Are you serious? One of the more improbable Lions victories that I can remember in my lifetime. 5 interceptions by Jared Goff, down 15 plus points in the second half. It doesn't matter. This team shows the grit, and they come back to get their 8th win of the season, 26-23 at the buzzer. How about Jake Bates? 2 50-plus yard field goals in the fourth quarter to help the Lions earn the win. Welcome into a live Locked On Lions postcast. I am your host, Jake Rietma. It's all part of Locked On Sports Detroit. Fired up, as always, to be with you on the postcast as the Lions move to 8-1. And as always, we thank you for making the Locked On Lions postcast your post-game destination, making it your first listen following the final whistle. And today was the walk-off field goal. How about that? Your first listen every day, free and available wherever you get your podcast. And, of course, on YouTube. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team each and every day. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit for more post-game content like this one. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. That's right. The Locked On Lions postcast is brought to you by Prize Picks. All you got to do is go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code all lowercase Locked On NFL to win $50 instantly when you play just $5. And my, oh my, there's so many different angles to look at this one. The football guy in me will say you do not win games on the road in the NFL when you turn the ball over 5 times, when you play as poorly as Jared Goff did, and collectively the entire Lions offense, especially in that first half, would tell you that they played poorly as a unit. But the defense, even at the beginning of the game, it looked like the Texans were just a step faster. It was going to be one of those nights, and that happens throughout the course of a 17-game season in the National Football League. But this team just doesn't quit. They did not give up. They show the grit, whatever cliche, whatever adjective you want to use to describe it, but it's something new each and every week. It's somebody else stepping up with this team, and with their backs against the wall, as I mentioned, down 15 plus points in the second half. What do? They don't allow a single point in that second half. Tremendous effort by the defense. They come right out in that third quarter. Amon-Ra Robertson gets the interception, and wow, they just played an incredible second half. And offensively, they started to make a couple of plays. And again, you talk about when the Lions felt like they looked like themselves. There were a couple of those scoring drives in the second half, in particular the touchdown that made it 23-13. That was a 3-play, 44-yard drive. And then when Amon-Ra St. gets in the end zone, that was a 7-play, 64-yard drive that took just 3 minutes and 11 seconds. And that made it 23-20. And then there you go. The 2 Jake Bates field goals. How about that? And I love the way Dan Campbell managed that game down the stretch. We're going to get to your comments in just a second because I'm watching it with both my brothers. And we're saying, man, he really trusts Jake Bates and that final possession where all of a sudden, instead of trying to get a little bit closer, make it a little bit easier and manageable of a field goal, Dan Campbell says, no, we're going to run down that clock. And we were talking, well, should they try and get a little bit closer? It didn't matter. The second game-winning the second field goal from Jake Bates, the game-winning one, was a 52-yard field goal, and he drilled it. And both of them, they barely snuck in. And, I mean, I think you got to say it's a good thing that they didn't paint the goalpost in the uprights at NRG Stadium recently, because maybe they would have been doinkers if they did. That's how close they were. But, man, what an exciting Sunday night football game. If you stayed up for it, it was a treat. But the Lions moved to 8-1 on the season, 5-0 on the road. My brothers and I were talking, when's the last time the Lions won 5 consecutive road games? I'm not sure. But if you're into stats, the stat that they flashed in the Sunday night football graphic was insane. A team had not won when throwing 5 interceptions and down 15 plus points in a game since 1970. 1970, people. It is 2024. That is insane. But, got to catch my breath because, man, this was an exciting one. Lions get the win 26-23. And We're going to get to your comments in just a second, but you look at that stat line, it is going to be tough for Jared Goff to read. 15 of 30, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Now, the first 2 interceptions in the first half, off deflections, you can make the case, maybe not his fault. The third at the end of the half, the Hail Mary. The fourth one, it looked like LaPorta, if he gets his hands up, perhaps he can catch that ball going into the end zone. It didn't look like an egregiously bad throw, but nonetheless still an interception. And then the fifth one, he threw a punt on that, just trying to do way too much on that long ball. But that being said, for the rest of the guys on this team to pick up Jared Goff when he has a bad game and to do it on the road as well. And then the Houston Texans are no slouch of a team. I know they lost Thursday night, the previous Thursday night rather, to the Jets. And Chris Collinsworth kept mentioning this on the broadcast, that he felt like that lit a fire under them and that they came out more ready to play than in this game with the extended rest. And I think there's a point to be made with that. So I'm not going to disagree with Collinsworth on that, but for the Lions to outlast the Texans on the road, show all kinds of grit, character, whatever you want to call it, man, this was a game that you store in the memory books. And this is the type of win that really, it shows what this Lions team is made of. It shows what Dan Campbell and his coaching staff continue to preach day in and day out. The identity of this team will be all about the grit. And I think that's what fans love so much about this Detroit Lions team. And speaking of fans, I mean, my goodness, it was a Lions takeover at NRG Stadium. If anyone was at the game, let me know in the comments. Would love to hear from you, because there were times where you could audibly hear the "Let's Go Lions" chants at NRG Stadium. And that is just tremendous stuff. You got to love it. I've been following stuff on social media. You could see all of the posts, all of the tweets, whatever it may be, of all the Lions fans there. I had a couple of buddies that were there, and they said it's just packed with Lions fans. So we know the blue travels, and that is just incredible stuff. But I'm going all over the place. It's late, and sometimes my brain's always wired after a Lions win like that. But man, let me know what you think or what you thought of the game. Any general reaction, but Jake Bates and the confidence, the poise, and the confidence Dan Campbell and the rest of the coaching staff showed in him. First, the 59-yarder, which Tirico mentioned on the broadcast, is the longest field goal in Lions history. So you think about the history of Lions field goal kickers. I mean, Jason Hanson, Matt Prater, recently guys that could just bomb it from way downtown, and Jake Bates now has the longest field goal in Lions history. And I think, you go back to the preseason, and I know it's just the preseason, but he made that long field goal to beat the Chiefs in that preseason game. That was one of the first ever Locked On Lions postcasts we ever had. And I'm getting on here thinking maybe Jake Bates is for real, but I think he proved tonight that he is in fact for real. The Lions have a weapon with Jake Bates as a kicker. Obviously, Jack Fox, probably the best punter in the National Football League, a weapon in special teams. And a night like tonight where you don't have your A game on offense, sometimes it takes some help from the special teams, and that's what we saw tonight. But fired up for this one. There is no doubt about it. Lions win it 26-23. We'll take a deeper dive into the box score. We'll read some of your comments and continue to break down this Sunday night football victory where the Lions, against all odds, man, I wonder if I should have been checking the betting lines to see what you could have gotten the Lions on the money line at when they, Goff threw that fifth pick and it looked like there was no chance they win this game. Let me know what you think, or if anybody did grab the Lions money line. A, I'm jealous, and B, kudos to you, because that was brilliant. But we're going to continue to break this one down. Your comments are next. That's where we're heading next. Don't go anywhere. The Locked On Lions postcast is just getting started on a victorious Sunday night football over the Texans, 26-23. The final. Your comments are next on the Locked On Lions postcast. Hey, this episode of the Locked On Lions postcast is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. That's right. I know games like tonight bring the excitement and they bring the energy. That's because our friends over at 5 Hour Energy know that being a passionate football fan isn't just a hobby, it's a way of life. It takes a lot of energy to power through all-day tailgates, touchdown celebrations, and agonizing overtime, whatever it may be. Or maybe it's a night like tonight where you have the joy of victory on a walk-off field goal, and especially with it being a Sunday night football game, I know those Lions fans were tailgating all day. That's why you need the 5-hour energy. Listen, it is exactly what you need to be at your best all day long. That's why I take 5-hour energy all the time. And good news, 5-hour energy knows that no matter what team you root for, being a fan requires heart, soul, and a whole lot of energy. So whether you're prepping for the big tailgate or ironing your jersey, your game day to-do list is always a mile long. That's why the limited edition Stan the Fan 5-hour energy shot is here. That's right. Stan the Fan 5-hour energy shot is here to help keep you fueled throughout the season. What's your fan fuel this week? Whatever it is, do it with a 5-hour energy. Available on 5hourenergy.com and shipped nationwide. This episode of the Locked On Lions Postcast is also brought to you by Prize Picks. That's right. The most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports is on Prize Picks. Run your game with Prize Picks. Here's how it works. You simply pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you watch the winnings roll on in. You can win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. It is so much fun. I might even be a little bit addicted to it, and that's a good thing because you know what? You can always have a blast on Prize Picks. That's why it's the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And as I mentioned, you can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Don't forget, Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out. If your lineup isn't perfect, you can double your money, even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this season. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts, like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select players and projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your listeners. So do what I do and download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, we got a lively stream tonight, and why wouldn't we? We've got the Detroit Lions moving to 8-1 on the season. You absolutely love to see it. My name is Jake Riepman, as always, fired up to be with you. Shout out to Matt Derry on the Locked On Lions Daily Podcast. I know everybody enjoys hearing from him and all the excellent guests that he has. Enjoy following the Locked On Lions Daily Podcast, and he's going to have a lot to talk about in his reaction show as well. So do me a favor, subscribe to Locked On Lions and subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit, because this is your post-game destination, live instant reaction shows. Now, time to get to the comments, and there are a lot to get through. So let's go ahead and get it rolling with Teddy Roll. Whoa, what a turnaround. Aaron Glenn in the defense delivers a shutout in the second half. Jake Bates saves the day with 2 amazing field goals. Go Lions. I couldn't have said it better myself, Teddy. That is spot on, my friend. Clee Shreen says, Team of Destiny. They certainly played like that tonight. I mean, there's not really any other explanation than Team of Destiny when you turn the ball over 5 times and we're down 15 in the second half and still find a way. He says, I'm so happy to escape this one and begin our Zadarius Smith journey. That's a good point. Zadarius Smith was on the sidelines tonight. They had a little bit of a feature talking point on him of how he's happy to be with the Lions, needed this would have been his bye week for the Cleveland Browns. So he had to take, a week for his body to rest and I think get acclimated with everything. So I'm excited to see Zadarius Smith as a Detroit Lion as well. That being said, Aleem McNeil played really well tonight. And I think at times that defensive line, yes, there's some shortcomings there, and adding Zadarius Smith will certainly help. but collectively that defense played so well, especially in the second half, and the 0 points given up is a testament to that. Rufus T. Cat says this team is being carried by a soccer player. I don't know about all that. The story with Bates is incredible, though. I mean, he was working for a brick company, and so neat that he's a Houston kid. He's from Texas, and back in around or close to his hometown. And Tirico did a great job of explaining how he basically thought his football career was over, his background in a little bit of soccer, and then was a kickoff specialist, and then gets a tryout for the Michigan Panthers, and just incredible stuff to see where he is now. And the Lions got to be pumped to have him because, my goodness, he helped win that game. There's no doubt about it. Demetrius McNeil, shout out to him and everydayer. Jake, should the Lions win the Super Bowl? That comeback in the second half is a win for the ages. 20 years since the Lions beat the Texans. Well done, Mr. Jake Bates. Yeah, they had a little bit of a graphic on that on the Sunday night broadcast. If you watch that the Texans and Lions are two of the four teams that have never even played for a Super Bowl, with the Lions, being one of the first franchises, and the Texans not new anymore by any means, but, they were an expansion team. I don't know the exact year, but I think early, and maybe 2000, early 2000s around then. But point being, yeah, they both are trying to get to the Super Bowl for the first time. 3, Mr. Wright, hell of a win. Couldn't agree more. Goes on to say, Lions finding a new way to win every game. Yeah, that's kind of what I said in the open, that it does feel like they are finding new ways to win. They're finding new contributors. And again, there's no cookie cutter approach to any of this, but certainly getting down as big as they were. I think it was 23-7. And then coming back to win the game, and after giving up 5 interceptions and being in that bad of a hole, that's certainly not a recipe for winning games and sustaining that. So let's hope that that never happens again. Clee Shreen says, what a team. I thought this was going to be our 2023 Ravens game. I had those same thoughts. I had the exact same thought. I was like, maybe we even just start the post-game show early because this is not looking good. O-line and D-line were both getting dominated up to halftime, but we can't doubt this staff and the team. Yeah, the adjustments were made. And no Taylor Decker tonight. I don't think that was the big reason. And a lot of it, the Lions weren't necessarily, like, Goff was definitely under pressure, but they couldn't get the running game going either in that opening half. And I think you see how important it is for the running game to get going to open up the passing game. And I know that's pointing out the obvious, but in the second half, there's some big plays. I think of that third down play to Jahmyr Gibbs when Goff just kind of threw it out on the swing pass, but Penei Sewell had gotten downfield to lead block for him. That kind of sparked this offense. They go down and score. It's Montgomery that scores. And then a couple other big plays in that touchdown drive with Amon-Ra St. Brown. And somebody mentioned it, but it just feels like you get some momentum going offensively and it turns into a snowball with this team. And then they're just moving. D-Wagon 41 says Sam Martin's still a better punter. Costs way too much compared to Fox. I don't know. I'll take Jack Fox over Sam Martin. Sam Martin was really good. No doubt about that. I think his best buds with with Matthew Stafford. Shout out Nick Stafford. All right. D-Wagon, sad to see that Sun God streak die. I don't know what streak that was because Amon-Ra St. Brown scored a touchdown tonight. Robert Young says, grit, grit, grit. Dennis Titik says, go Lions. All right, Jeff Wilford, shout out to him. Gritty win. That's my guy, Jeff Wilford. Absolutely. Gritty win tonight. The leg baits for the leg baits for the win. Yes, it's crazy. I mean, both of those field goals just snuck in, but at the same time, there's so much distance. The second one, I feel like, would have been good from 65, maybe 70 yards. But yeah, he can boot the ball. My brothers and I were not laughing, but just the contrast, the difference between the post-game interview with Carlton Davis and with Jake Bates, and they're on the same team. You absolutely, you got to love it. I mean, that's what it's all about, being a team. Just and Davis had the 2 interceptions, so you got to love that. And my apologies. I think that's my bad all the way. I think I said the earlier in the program, I think I said Amik Robertson. That's my bad all the way. I meant Carlton Davis. Yeah, Carlton Davis with the 2 interceptions. I knew that. I just said the wrong one. That being said, I don't think Robertson played too bad either. Just really this entire defense. I mean, Brian Branch made a lot of plays. Jack Campbell with 7 tackles. Brian Branch with 10 tackles. Aleem McNeil, I mentioned how well he played. Good to see Josh Paschal in there making some plays. And Anzalone had that big pass breakup. that forced the Texans field goal. I think Terrion Arnold got away with the pass interference there. I'm not going to lie on that last third down for the Texans, and Texans fans will probably complain about that. And Terrion Arnold had a couple of interference calls against him again. So that's still an area of concern. There's no doubt about it. All right, we are going to take one more time out and tie a bow on this one. Oh, yeah, from D-Wagon 41, 30-plus straight targets resulted in a catch. That's a good point. That was an insane streak. Yeah, and Goff was just off. I mean, I think whoever mentioned this being like our Ravens game last year, it really was. Goff was off, and sometimes you're just out of sync as an offense, and the Lions certainly were that tonight, especially in that first half, but they find a way to win on the road in the NFL. Just incredible stuff. All right, a couple more comments. Mark G says the defense won this game, especially Carlton Davis and Brian Branch. I completely agree. Aleem McNeil had a great game as well, as did Jack Campbell. And it takes a team effort to win, and guys picked up the offense tonight. And that defense shutting out the Texans in the second half. Jake Bates with the long field goals. And you talk about a total team win. This was it all the way. All right, break time, and then we wrap it up and close it out. Lions victorious over the Houston Texans, 26-23, and move to 8-1 on the season. Don't go anywhere. We tie a bow on it next on the Locked On Lions Postcast. Hey, this episode of the Locked On Lions Postcast is brought to you by Omaha Steaks. That's right. New sponsor here on the Locked On Lions Postcast, Omaha Steaks. There's nothing better. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off gourmet gifts site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with promo code NFL. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and gifting the experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages starting at $89.99. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code NFL and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com. That's OMAHA steaks.com, and earn an extra $30 with promo code NFL. Minimum purchases may apply. So, shout out to Omaha Steaks and get after it. omahasteaks.com. This episode also brought to you by FanDuel. That's right, America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app today and get ready to tackle the NFL with action with the FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more, all on the same page where you place your live bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. Get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. All right, Lions win this one in the most improbable way, 26-23, 5 turnovers. It doesn't matter. The Lions get the win. They shut the Texans out in the second half. Just incredible stuff tonight from the Lions. 8-1 on the season, and a big win because the Vikings were right there at 7-2 and still are right there. There's no doubt about that, but they snuck past the Jags today and are at 7-2. So for the Lions to get this win, that means they stay in first place in the NFC North. And what a good division the NFC North is with the Lions, Vikings, Packers. But nice to see the Bears struggling. And when I say struggling, I mean struggling. That's good stuff. All right, couple more comments to get to. My man Jeff Wilford, the Lions will be eating steak tonight. That's right. The Lions should check out those Omaha steaks. There's no doubt about it. All right, let's dive into this box score before we say goodbye. Houston outscored the Lions 10-0 in that opening quarter. Lions come back with 7 to make it 10-7, but the strong close to that first half by the Texans, and I didn't love that from the Lions. They got the ball back and kind of went quietly, gave the ball back to the Texans, and then they go down and score. And all of a sudden, it's 23-7 at the half. Lions with a strong third quarter and an even stronger fourth quarter outscore the Texans 19-0 in that second half to earn the 26-23 win. Now, some injury news. Sam LaPorta, will keep an eye on what he's got going on, but a nice game from him. 3 catches, 66 yards and 1 touchdown as well. Jahmyr Gibbs took him a little while to get going, but he did run for 71 yards. And then Montgomery with 12 carries for 32 yards and the score. So with Montgomery and Gibbs, kind of expect, this was for their standards. You got to give the Texans a lot of defense. The Texans defense a lot of credit. They kind of held them in check throughout the course of this evening, and I'm sure we'll see a bounce back game from those two next up for the Lions and the entire offense for that matter. I think the entire offense will tell you that they can play a lot better. So up next, the Jacksonville Jaguars. That will be Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff for that one. So we'll have our post-game show for that. And as always, remember to subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit, because we got the Locked On Pistons postcast coming. We got more Locked On Michigan or Locked On Wolverines football postcast, and of course, the Locked On Lions postcast. So thanks so much for tuning into this one. A huge win for the Detroit Lions, 26-23 over the Houston Texans. Lions move to 8-1 on the season and 5-0 on the road. How about that? As always, you can check out more content from us on Locked On Sports Detroit. Make sure you subscribe as well. That's going to do it for us. My name is Jake Riepma. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Locked On Lions postcast and Locked On Sports Detroit.